Cardmaking. So welcome everybody, happy January. You'll notice in your kit there were some hearts because we're getting close to Valentine's Day. Our class next month will be the week of Valentine's Day, so we'll still be doing some love and friendship projects then, but we'll get a little jump on it tonight. If you're someone who likes to mail Valentines, then you'll have a few things to put into the mail. So thanks for being with us. It's great to see your smiles and see your names. And as you're working along, you can feel free to hold up your projects. Again, if you have questions and you want to speak, just simply unmute yourself and kind of wave if I keep going and miss you, because we do want to have this be as interactive as we can. A reminder that tomorrow morning we will be at the Baldwinsville Library in person at 10 o'clock, and I'm going to spotlight that video, that camera for a moment so you can see the kit that everyone will get tomorrow with their supply fee of $20. That includes this fun box with all kinds of goodies inside. And tonight we'll be using the stamp set, so I wanted to take it out and open it up to show you. It makes 15 cards, and they are great all occasion cards for your card giving all year round. And so there's all the pieces that we need, the envelopes, and then this fun stamp set that we'll be using tonight, and an ink spot as well. It's called Bermuda Bay. So we can be dreaming of a tropical location while we're in the chilly Northeast tonight. So hopefully some of you can join me tomorrow at the library in person for stamping. But again, we're so happy, those of you who can, that we still have this opportunity to gather virtually while there are complications with getting together in person. So in your bag, there were lots of mixed match of pieces and parts. What I want you to do, kind of like a treasure hunt tonight, you're going to pull out some of the things to stamp along with me, or feel free to just sit back, relax, and watch as we work together, and then mix and match your own items. But for this first card, I'm choosing this embossed paper with the white hearts. I love how it feels. The paper is embossed, so those hearts kind of pop off. We'll also use the card and envelope that has this pretty silver edging to it. I'll leave that one for our card base. And then there is a circle, a punched whisper white or basic white circle. And let's see, that goes with the card tomorrow. And then everybody has some different pets. So dogs or cats, or a mix of dogs and cats. And what I love about this designer series paper is that the animals really have personalities. And so as you choose what you want to do with them for our projects tonight, it will be fun to think, maybe you think of a certain person who has a pet that looks like this, or that wants a pet like this. We have a lot of neighbor dogs on our street. And so it's fun for me to make cards for people that live that in my neighborhood, having dogs that kind of look like their dogs. So the other project that we'll be using the pets for is this little box. So we'll do this after the card, but as you're looking at your dogs or cats, if there's one or two you want to save for your little polka dot box, you can kind of set that one aside just so you don't miss out on a favorite one. Now, this is called Fussy Cutting, and quilters, fabric enthusiasts often love to fussy cut, and paper crafters do too. So, but not everybody likes to do this. So when I do fussy cut, I don't try to go right up close to the shape. I leave a little bit of a white border or whatever that background color is. So you'll see, I'm not trying to be super fussy to go up to all the hairs and around the tail of the dog. I'll demonstrate on this one. This is a funny little personality dog. So you'll see I'm just leaving like a tiny edge of white. And a trick when you're fussy cutting paper is to move the paper rather than moving the scissors. You'll see how my left hand is turning the white paper, the designer paper, and my scissors are staying pretty stationary. Can you see that okay? Let me see, I'm gonna pull in something a little bit darker to have underneath me. See if that helps a little bit, okay? So I'm gonna just keep my scissors pretty much in position, but I'm gonna move the paper as I go around. So there's a funny little dog. And I've got a heart. I can cut that little heart off too. Not everybody has a heart on their paper, I think, but if you do, you can go ahead and cut that out as well. We're just going to make a little collage of pieces tonight for this card. How about another dog? This one, he looks like a Disney dog, doesn't he? Let's see, there we go. Like from Lady and the Tramp, I think he looks like a happy dog. So if any of you have dogs or cats, you can chime in, either unmute yourself or you can comment in the chats. Our family currently doesn't have any dogs, but like I said, we have some favorite neighbor dogs. Louie and Ella are our neighbor dogs that we love.
We have neighbor dogs.
It's nice, isn't it? You can visit with them and then you can go back in your house.
To pay the vet bill.
Who else was that? Have other people pet owners?
I had 5.
5?
Not at once. In 58 years.
Oh, okay. Over the years, yes. Well, they're like family. You're right. You count them all. We all remember them. We had a dog when I was first married. We had a dog named Sydney, Springer Spaniel dog, who was wonderful. Okay, so I'm going to cut out one more just so I've got a trio of little dogs here. Kind of like
we have cats, and I'm glad you gave me cats. So.
Oh, good. Good, Julia. Aren't they fun? There's a calico cat there. And Lee, I just saw your chat pop up. You have King Louie. I know. You're a happy dog. There we are.
I didn't get any pets.
Well, I figure right now we're busy enough with our 2 boys growing up. So once we had children, we didn't have any pets. Now I'm going to kind of like build this like a collage, as I said. So I've got my card base, this white card with the silver edging. And before I attach this though, I'm going to build up on top of this, and I'm going to be using some of the baker's twine. So I don't want to secure it to the white until I've wrapped the white baker's twine around. Now, some of you have baker's twine that's wrapped on a little piece of cardboard like this. And some of you have it on a clothespin. It's the same product. I just wrapped it differently. So everybody would have some. And what I want to do is, just by adding some texture, I'm going to make a little tail here. And then I'm going to wrap it around probably 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And so now this is just giving some fun texture and some visual interest as well with a horizontal line. So now I'll cut that. Let's see, I'll find my scissors. I'm gonna cut this. So one question I have for you is, do you like surprises? Are you someone who likes to kind of stamp along and then see what happens when we get to the end of the project? Or do you prefer to have a finished one that you look at first? So tonight I don't have a finished one to show you, so I can't honor that request, but it's something I'm curious about. People have different likes or interests when they're crafting. And some people really like to have their kind of like their roadmap all in place. So you can comment in the chat if you like to have a sample ahead, or you're kind of happy to experience it. So Lee likes to have a finished one first, and that's good. I'll be curious. We could try to have a little bit of a poll tonight and see if you had to pick. Would you like to see a finished one first or have the surprise? And Christine likes the surprises. Good. So something for everyone. Tonight it's all surprises. Okay. And Mary likes to see it first as well. Yeah, great. It's very interesting to me. So I like it. And Connie's a roadmap person. You like to see it all laid out there, right? Very good. Julia says to see the stages of it. Yes, as we work it together. I think it's interesting too. Sometimes if I don't have a finished one to show you, then you're hearing a little bit more of my process. And that can be interesting too as an artist to see, how you make choices, whether you choose a square layout or a circle focal point or something like that. Okay, so I've got my little bow here off to the side. and I have this circle. So what I'm going for is I'm going to make a little setting of all these dogs on here. So you see, I don't have a ton of space for my words to go. I want a greeting that's going to be kind of smaller in here. So let me look at what I have to share with you tonight, because I have several new stamp sets I wanted to show. This one I thought would be fun for this card because it's not particularly Valentine, it's just a love card or a great friendship card. So the one that says, I love being your friend. And I thought that would be fun because these dogs are all kind of buddies, right? And it would fit nicely in that section. This set also has, it's the little things that make life great. And that could be a fun card. Let's say you cut out the little balls that were on your cards or the little hearts. So you had some tiny things, and it's the little things that make life great. And then also the You're in My Thoughts Today. That's a wonderful card. Certainly any day of our lives, but especially in the last couple of years. We never would have thought 2 years ago we'd be saying years. We thought just weeks or months. But throughout this pandemic time, I think it's great sending cards just to let people know you're thinking of them. You haven't forgotten them, and they're in your thoughts. So let's take a look at the I love being your friend. And this way I can show you quickly how stamps are assembled. When they come from Stampin' Up, they're die cut like this, but I have to put the sticker label on there. So what I'm gonna do, let me make it so you can see me again. I'm going to peel off half of that backing and peel off the backing from the back of the stamp. And then I'm going to place that on top of the sticker. And when I peel it off, then I can remove that second half. And what's great about the cling stamps is they cling right to the acrylic mount stamp, and then they can peel off. So for storage, they fit neatly back in the case, and they don't take up as much room as if each stamp was on its own block. So what the blocks that you have that you borrow from the library, those stamps are wood mount stamps. And I love those because there's no assembly, right? They're just ready for you to start playing with. But the advantage to the cling or the photopolymer stamps, certainly one advantage is the storage. So let's find my ink. This is my favorite ink, the Memento Tuxedo Black ink. I'm just gonna tap, tap, tap. And then let's put that I love being your friend kind of in the upper center quadrant there, just center and then a little bit north. So some simple stamping. And I can use dimensionals, my Stampin' Dimensionals to add this. So I wanted to do that twine first, right? So that then I can build things on top of the twine. There we go. I hope everyone is staying warm. I was just sharing with Julia as we were signing on that even in my warm house, I just have been chilly today. So got my scarf on and my, my plaid, still in the Christmas cheer. Do you still have your Christmas decorations or holiday decorations up, or have you taken them down?
Taking them down.
Most of them are still up.
Me too. They're up at my house. I just haven't gotten to it, but I love having them up, and Connie has the tree still up too. Me too. Yeah, we didn't get ours up as early this year as we sometimes do, so it's nice to have it up through half of January. There we are. So now we have I love being your friend. Let me hold it up a little bit. My small ceramic trees are still up. That's great, Lee. So there we are, and I'm just having it on the dark so you can see things, but I'm going to, once I have them put together, I'm going to go ahead and put it onto this card base. Okay, I love being your friend. So now I'm going to use a little bit of my multi-purpose glue and just a little bit. I'm not covering the whole animal because it's going to hang over this edge because of the dimensional here. Let's see, it's hard to kind of show that on camera, but you can see it gives a little bit of pop. So I don't want it to stick down on here. I want it to stick to the white part. So I'll just put some glue there. Oh, I want my gray guy to be underneath though. So yeah, I think he needs to be a little bit behind. There we
How
are.
much string do you use? I was so busy fussy cutting that I didn't get a chance to put the string on the card.
The twine? Okay, what I did is I didn't measure. I simply wrapped it around 3 times. So
Okay.
I can show you again. Yep, I've got another copyright one right here. I'll show you that. So it's got I leave a bit of a tail because I want to have, if you want a bow, sometimes people just have a knot. I usually like bows. So I just leave a tail. And then I'm going to wrap it around 3 times. And I gave you plenty of twine, so you'll have plenty to do this. And then once it's the 3 times, I'm going to cut off the tail. And now I can tie a knot. I can tie a bow. Sometimes people don't even want there to be any knot showing. They just want the lines coming in and out. So I could, if I wanted, I could, I'll make a bow because I do like that. But if I chose, another way to do it would be to put my circle right on top here. And then you would just see lines coming out to the left and the right without any knots. That's another way that's pretty too.
You pull it fairly tight?
Pretty much, but it's going to be, we're going to put this whole piece down on here.
Okay.
So that will anchor any of that.
Got it, with the glue. Okay.
Yeah, so you could either dimensional this, which I'm going to do because then it just adds a little bit more pop, or you could use the Tombow multi-purpose glue. I'm going to go ahead and use dimensionals for this. So I'll put, usually if I have something in the center like this, a larger piece that I'm using the dimensionals, I'll put maybe one on either side of that, just so that it doesn't get tangled maybe. Or if I were to try to glue this with the Tombow glue, it would just be kind of bumpy and raised at that portion. Whereas here I'm giving it a little room. Hope that makes sense. I love the dimensionals. They're nice. They're a good strong hold, and they just tend to, because they create that little bit of shadow, I think it's a nice interest in the card. If you're ever at shopping for cards that have commercially made, the ones that have things that pop out cost a lot more. so I think that's it's nice to, it just adds sort of a dimension. Now I had that tiny little heart. Let's see if we could find it.
How are they to mail?
Yep, they're okay. This one would not need extra postage because it's still kind of cushions flat down. But if, like, in your bag you've got a big button this time, if you were to put this on a card, you would need the extra postage because it's a hard piece. If you're in doubt, ask the friendly post office people, because you don't want your card to be returned to you. That's the worst thing, is to have it returned because you don't have enough postage. And usually it's an extra 20 cents. It might be a little bit more now because postage rates have gone up, but it's worth it when you've created a special card for someone special. You want to make sure it gets to them safely. So I've lost my tiny little heart that I cut.
Right under your right hand.
Left, right.
Just to the right of your blue paper.
There's the button. Oh, is that the heart?
No, right under the button. Under the button.
No.
It's just below the button. There it is. Oh, that was
those are just the dimensional pieces, unfortunately.
Okay.
But that's okay. You saw what I had. It was just
your heart.
That's okay. It was actually, I have another little one. Some of you on the back of your animals have little paw prints and little hearts. So I can actually cut this tiny little piece out and maybe cut one of the paws out. Not everybody has that, though. I don't mean to tease you. Depends on what was on the back of the animals that you had. But let's put that one right up there, just a little heart. It's a little messy with the glue, but that will dry okay. All right. Now, oh, I know what I had, though, that we were going to add to this one are these heart gems. Everybody has these, so you can put them on your card if you want. These are self-adhesive little gems that are shaped like hearts. And what I wanted to show you is how you can color them with a Sharpie marker or with a, what we have in Stampin' Up! Are called blends that are special alcohol markers, but you can use Sharpie markers. And so you can change it from being a clear heart to a pink or red or whatever color you want to make the heart. So let me color a few of those. There are 3 different sizes. And like I said, these are self-adhesive. So I'm going to take that little red one off, actually, so I can show you, because everybody has some of the this kind, this little self-adhesive ones. So just peel them off. They're like made of a little bit of like an acrylic. So that's going to be nice. See, you've got the shine of the silver and then a little bit of the shine from that heart texture, the plastic heart.
So quick question. My bow is doing a strange thing with one of the lobes keeps twisting.
Yes. Baker's twine, because it's been wound either on the clothespin or on this, there's like some tension to it. One trick is before you wrap it or do anything, you just really kind of stretch it out.
Oh, okay.
But let me just think, if you have it on here, like I can try to untie mine. And what I'm going to do is just give it a little bit of stretch like that. So if there was tension where it was wound, that will help. And then sometimes I find if you tie your bow upside down, the loops will do better. I wish I don't really have real science on that, but it does tend to get twisty. It doesn't offend me. I just kind of let it do that twist. Is that what's happened to yours? Is it's kind of, yeah. So I think that's mainly because it's been wound and so it's got a tension to it.
Okay.
Yeah. If it bothers you, you can just untie it and kind of, even with a little bit of moisture, just wet the twine, and that will help take out any of that twist.
Thank you. That's helpful.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Any other questions about this one?
Mm-mm.
I hope you like it. Again, it's got the texture of the embossed paper and that little heart that's raised now and the shiny bits. So my family, my boys and my husband, their favorite cards are ones that have the texture. So I do try to make cards that aren't just straight flat. There's a lot of ways though that you can create depth, the appearance of depth, just with ink and with shading. And we've done that a few times together where we've used sponges to shade. We can do more of that in the coming months because sometimes either for ease of mailing or for, being efficient with supplies, we don't always have a lot of layers. So write in the comments anytime or let me and Julia know if there's requests that you have for techniques you want to learn or ideas you want to learn, because I can personalize our monthly classes. Okay, so next let's go ahead and do the little box. Now your box, it will just be flat when you're in your bag. It looks like this, and I'm going to show you how we put it together. And don't forget you have your envelope to go with your dogs too. You could put another one of your dogs or cats on the envelope if you wanted to embellish that or do some more stamping. I'm going to keep it simple for now. I'll put it aside for us. Okay, so for this box, I didn't put a treasure in there for you this time except for the button. I love the button. I think it's a treasure. Maybe let me know if any of you growing up had like worry stones. Did you ever call them that or have a teacher that gave you a little worry stone? I used to love to have a worry stone, or you can call them different things, but it's just sort of a fidget. Now they have all kinds of toys you can buy for fidgeting toys. But when I was little, we just had little rocks or little buttons. And it just was something to kind of give you a release if you had some anxiety or energy. So it doesn't look like too much, but it's nice and smooth and shiny. There's a couple different colors. Some of you had a brighter pink or a more pale pink, but I'm going to put that in my box. But let me show you how the box comes together. All of the lines are pre-scored for you. So the first job is just to fold on all the score lines. Okay, like that. And then we've got some in the opposite direction. And I love that this one piece makes the bottom with the top flap all connected. Okay, so the bottom piece is the one that has this little notch. That's going to be the bottom of our box. So you can see there are two flaps, kind of like arms up here, and then feet down here, two little flappies. So we're going to fold those in. See how the two are kind of hands go in, and this wraps around and locks. because it's got that hole. And we'll do the same thing with these bottom like little feet flaps. Fold them in and it locks. So we have a sturdy base of our box. York Peppermint Patty fits beautifully in here. They're my favorite candies. Other little nuggets fit in here nicely, or you can fold a tea bag. You know, I love tea. You can fold a tea bag to fit in there, or write a little message on paper and fold it up. How about some stickers? Stickers are a great gift to give to children when you want to give them a treat, but not a sugary treat. Stickers are lots of fun. And then the top, you'll see, has these rounded three sides that are rounded, and they tuck in the box bottom like that. So where the little opening is, that's to make it easy so your thumb can just go in there and lift it up. Now, you could decorate this lots of ways. Often we tie boxes with ribbons or with twine, but this box closes up really nicely without needing ribbon or anything to hold it. So I tend to not put ribbon on this, because that way when somebody opens it up, then they can't really put it back together. And I want it to be something they'll either give away to somebody else to repurpose it and regift it, or one that they might keep on their bedside table for a little while just to enjoy. So I'm not going to make it so you have to take anything off to get inside, but I am going to decorate the top. In your kit are these tiny little tags. There's some white ones and some vanilla ones. Okay, and we're going to take this, and I want to add it to my box where this little friendly dog is. Now this is a small space, right? So when you're looking for sentiments that will fit there, you may not have one that the whole words can fit in there. So what you can do is take like here, this one says, "You make my heart happy." I love this one, but it's going to be hard to fit all of that on. So what I'm going to just do is happy. And so I'm going to take a marker, and this is not an alcohol-based marker. So it's not like a Sharpie or a Blends. It's a water-based marker. And so I'm just going to paint the word happy. That's the only word I'm going to fit on this little one, is happy, happy. And then I'll show you, I have another one that says for you. So we'll do a happy. And I'm going to just give a breath of fresh air if it took me a little time to paint that. I'm going to put happy, all right, on there. And then in our kit that we'll be using, that you'll take home if you come to the class tomorrow, there's a stamp that says, "I'm so very thankful for you." So it's got the words "for you." I can do the same thing now. I can take my marker and I can just use the marker on the words "for you." So the full message is, "I'm very thankful for you," but I'm just going to use the words "for you." And now it will say "happy for you." There we go. So it's just a smaller little message. Now we have this happy twine, so we'll use some of this. I'm going to cut, let's see, I'm going to use my grid paper. And the grid paper, hopefully you'll like from your kit. I know it's off screen a little bit for mine, but I have a ruler here. And so the grid paper, hopefully you can use that. It can be something you can reuse in your craft space to have as a measuring tool. Let's measure 6 inches for that. I'm just going to make a little tie through that hole. So I'm going to double it up and feed the loop through the hole. And someone has a raised hand. Let's see, who has a question? So now it's like I guess we call that a book tag or a library tag. I like to call this a bookmark loop, because if you were making this a bookmark at the top, then that ribbon wouldn't come loose. So I made it a little longer than I needed. Probably 4 inches would be okay. But that's just going to add some interest to that. I can also take my marker and paint around the edge. I'm going to take a pink, which is a little bit different instead of the red. And I'm just gonna color around the very edge of it. I could color the whole tag, but instead I'm just going to make a border.
So iPad 2014, you should be able to talk to us now.
I'm trying to put my face on it, but I do not know how to do that.
Okay, there's a little spot that will say start video. It'll stop or start video. It's down. If you're on a desktop, it's probably in the lower left part of your screen. Down at the bottom, there's a toolbar.
And if it's on an iPad, it may be in the upper, either upper right or upper left.
Oh, there I am.
Start video, there we go.
My name is not bought in 2016. That's how it's labeled. Sorry.
That's okay.
I might be able to rename you. What's your name?
Kathy Patterson.
Kathy. Okay.
Kathy, great. Yeah, Julia can probably rename you as host, so that will be great. So, do you have a question for us, Kathy?
No, I'm just trying to get my face up there and my name up there, and I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm glad. Very good. We're learning together. That's wonderful. So for my happy for you, I'm going to use the dimensionals to pop these things onto the top. I want to still be able to open my box, right? Like this. So let me take the dimensionals. I'll put 2 on the back here for good measure for the tag. And using the markers that way, it almost looks like it's layered, right? It almost looks like there's a pink tag and then a white tag on top, but it's really just the outline. And I've got this happy dog here, so we're going to pop him up as well. And I think what's fun about Valentine's Day is it's not just for romantic interests. It can be just for, we call it Palentine's Day or Galentine's Day when it's a girlfriend, or Palentine when it's your friend. But it's just a nice day to be, to have extra kindness and share love and joy. So these projects tonight aren't specific. You could give them to a romantic partner, but they're also just fun to give to a friend or a neighbor. And let's put some more of those little hearts here. So I'm going to make a larger one. Remember, when you're coloring these, if you want, they look great when they're on colored cardstock. It just doesn't show up quite so much when it's on the white. So that's why I'm coloring it. So if you have Sharpies at your house, you could use those or any alcohol-based markers. There we are. And they're kind of fun. They're kind of like nail art. People like, they'd be too stiff. I guess they're too firm to put on your nails, but they kind of remind me of that kind of jewelry. Or people could put them on their ears for earrings. Did you ever do that when you were little before you had pierced ears? So there's happy for you. So that button, I'd love to challenge you to use this in a fun way, either as a worry stone, just keep it in your pocket and it kind of gives comfort or ease if you have a little anxiety or just sort of fidgeting. But it also would be great to use on a craft project of some kind. So I'll be excited to hear how you might use your button. If you have a lot of buttons.
I wonder if you could call it your anti-panic button. So
I love it. Yes, the panic button. It's the anti-panic button. That would be great.
Press the button and it makes you stop panicking.
I like that idea. Great.
Great.
So this is just a fun little set that you could give to a friend around Valentine's Day or any time of the year, especially if they're a pet lover. It's great. Okay. Now our next project is going to show off some of this pretty designer series paper that's in your kit. We've got some more gold like we had last month, this gold foil, and this really pretty wildflower paper. It does have 2 sides. So the other side is this old-fashioned script. It's kind of neat as well. But I especially love these colors, and so we chose some of the papers, the navy and the golden yellow, to create a card. Now this one is just a very basic fold. So we're going to fold the card in half, the cardstock in half. This is 8.5 by 11 inches. And the navy is a thicker text weight of paper, and we'll use that as the card base. It's a nice sturdy one, so when someone has it, they can display it. It's got some strength to the paper. And then, but we have these other pieces to play with, along with some more little labels. You can think about what kind of greeting you might want to have. And then remember, we talked about this, the wonderful donation that the library received of card supplies included boxes and boxes of these envelopes, but because of moisture, they became sealed.
Yes.
So we've been thinking of creative ways to use them in a non-traditional envelope way. So one way is simply to cut it apart, and then you've got a nice even surface. And so that surface is something we can put on the inside of the navy blue card, because it's hard, unless you have a white pen, it's hard to read ink on this navy. So I'm going to take my cutter, my trimming paper trimmer. Oops, I'm so sorry. Whoops. Let's see if I can get us back on track. I apologize. Like I said, my normal stand is on loan and I'll have it back for next month, but I didn't plan very well to have that for tonight. Okay.
You're doing a great job. Great.
Thank you very much. It's good to have an understanding audience here, forgiving audience. Okay, so here's my trimmer. And what I'm going to do is simply take, just go along the edges of this envelope, because it's going to give me a nice size piece of paper that I can use for the inside of my card or for the outside. But in this case, we're going to use it as an inside, kind of as a liner. So let's measure it at 3 3/4 inch by 5 inches. Let's see where my 5 is, kind of upside down. There we go. Okay. So now I have this clean, even piece. And then this is the back of the envelope parts. So if you had small things you wanted to stamp and cut out, this isn't garbage. It's still clean paper. It's just we're not able to use it as its original intention. But it's nice. Sometimes all you need is just a little scrap of something. So each month we kind of talk about what we do with our leftover pieces and parts. So if you have a container, whether it's a little bucket or a little shoebox where those odds and end pieces can be stored, often you need just a little strip of something. And so it's nice to conserve that way. Now, the gold paper, we obviously like to conserve because it's very special, right? And so I'm going to have the gold be on the left and the right of this paper. So I could just cut here and then have it would lay on top, but because that'd be a whole inch of this gold paper that would just be covered up. Instead, what I'm going to do is make 2 long strips, okay? Mm-hmm. And then when you look at the card, you won't really be able to tell that it's not behind both places. So I'm going to let me turn my cutting around so my ruler's in the right direction here. Okay. So I'm just going to cut off 2 1/2-inch strips of my gold. You can use regular scissors to do this if you don't have a paper trimmer. A lot of papers are really pretty when we tear them. And so that's another kind of paper crafting technique. So now we're getting together our pieces and parts, right? Now you'll notice this is too tall right now. So I need to trim the pieces to the height that I want. There we are. Okay. Now, but I also have that golden paper here. So my intention is to have all these pieces layered. So there's a little frame of the navy around it. Mm-hmm. And then there will be these strips like this. So for the project tonight, I didn't cut these ahead because you may have a different idea in mind of how you want to use the pieces. So I do recommend having a cutter of some kind, a trimmer, as you build your stash of crafting supplies. We're going to measure this at 4 inches by 5 1/4. And that's going to leave just a nice narrow border around the whole side of the front here. Okay. I really like the texture of this paper. It's kind of an old world parchment kind of look, in my opinion. So we're going to go ahead. Remember, before we assemble things with glue, I first like to lay it out. And that way, if I might change my mind, or I might decide to add another layer tucked underneath. And it's always easier to do the gluing last than to try to remove the glue. So we want these other pieces to be the same measurement, that 5 1/4. I'll bring in my trimmer again. Got this pretty wildflower paper. I'm going to cut that at 5 1/4. So this little piece here, now I don't save every scrap, and I don't necessarily recommend that to you, but this is lovely, isn't it? And so if you do have a little shoebox or tote box, like a little bin, this would be worth saving, because I think it's really lovely. Sometimes you just need a tiny piece of something, but you can also become kind of obsessed with that, and that's not healthy either. So what I like to do is, when I have a lot of extra pieces piling up on my desk, you can challenge yourself to just create a card using the odds and end pieces, or you can package them up and give them to a teacher, because teachers, or a grandma, because teachers and grandmas love to have pieces and parts for kids to cut and glue. So especially if it's special paper like this gold paper or this wildflower kind of paper. So here you'll see now we're getting somewhere, right? I want the look of the gold as if the gold is all the way under the paper. But by doing it this way, I was able to conserve some of that gold. So now I'm ready to do a little bit of stamping. And in your kit, like I said, there's these different shapes. They're quite small, so we have to think of what kind of greeting we want to put on here. But because this card has a lot of texture in the paper, I don't think it needs a whole lot of stamp imagery. But we do want to have some kind of greeting. So let's take a look. The stamp set that we have for tomorrow has a really nice happy birthday in it that would fit. It also has the thanks so much, and thank yous and birthdays are the cards that I need the most. Let's go ahead and try this happy birthday one.
Can I ask your advice on one of the earlier things?
Sure.
Let me just show myself for a second. Where did I go? I lost myself. I can't find myself. There I am.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So I've been working on this.
There you are. Yep. Great. Oh, sweet.
I've got the little cat playing with the ball of twine.
Yeah.
But I can't figure out for this cat whether to cut the tail more or less, or leave it like that.
I would leave it as it is.
Okay. And if I put it up here, then I have room for a stamp or a message of some sort.
Yes. Yep.
I could even have it go off the top of the card a little bit.
It's fun like that if it's one that you don't have to put in the envelope. If it needs to be in an envelope, you want to make sure it doesn't get crushed, because that little part is kind of fragile. But that leaves you a good space. I like that. Isn't the other calico cat so much fun? They're wonderful. Yeah. Great. Do they look like your cats, Julia? Or
well, my cat is all black. Okay. But this one has the right personality.
Good. Very good. Oh yeah, thanks for asking for the opinions. It's fun. The other thing is that because that cat has such a sweet personality, he kind of does it on his own. The other cat you could put on the envelope or some, it's not like you don't always, you could leave a little more white space where there'd be greetings or little hearts. It's up to you, but that's a nice balanced, the way you have him framed in the circle. It's a nice balance. Especially
if I pull the bow a little bit farther.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. I like that twine is similar to the look of the yarn. It's a nice embellishment to match the yarn.
That's true. Yeah.
Very good. Connie, did you have a question? Something popped up on the chat. Let's see.
I wondered the parchment paper. What size did we cut that to fit on the?
Cut at 4 inches by 5 1/4. So, and that's just the 1/4 inch less than the other so that it will be framed.
Okay.
So,
That's
yeah,
what I
there we go.
was- All right, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And those are some good measurements you'll kind of get in your head as you craft more, because it's what the standard envelopes, you know, what fits in a standard card size envelope. So it's the 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock, which is half of a full sheet of cardstock. And then this piece is 4 by 5 1/4. Okay, so then we can go ahead and use some glue to adhere things. I'm gonna put my gold foil.
Yeah, I'm muted.
And to put on the next gold foil, I have to do a little spacing. It's probably smart for me to just put it onto this wildflower first and then put it onto the card so I can line it up a little bit better. You've heard me say before, I'm not a precision stamper, just like I'm not a precision cook in the kitchen. But those of you who like numbers, and I like numbers, I don't mean to say I don't like numbers, but those of you who like a lot of straight lines, the grid paper is something that can really help you so that you could make these equal. I didn't worry about it and I let the paper dance, but grid paper is a good tool when you're trying to make things straight. So this is lovely. I've been reading some comments on Facebook recently how oftentimes a blank card or a card without a sentiment speaks just as loudly, really. Like this is a very peaceful card without any, in my opinion, without any words on it. But I am going to go ahead and stamp the happy birthday on here because we always need birthdays and thank yous. I'm going to stamp. This stamp is a photopolymer stamp, so it's clear and I can see right where I'm going to line that up. Happy birthday. And then I can position that on top of my card. I'll use dimensionals. Again, it's going to lift it. Let's see if I can find where I put those. Thanks for being with me tonight, friends. It's always fun to craft and share ideas and impressions and advice. There we are. So this is quite simple right now, but I like that it has the gold and this is kind of a linen look to the paper and then the parchment. So there's a lot of texture happening.
That would even be a nice sympathy card.
I think so too. Yep. Or thinking of you or at this time of loss or sympathy. Let me look in the stamps that I had right out here. That camellia one has those pretty words. Lovely you, you're in my thoughts today. You make me smile. Any of those would be really nice too. You're in my thoughts today is lovely. So that one with the label that I gave you, it would just fit. And what you could do is, I'll go ahead and I'll show what you can do. If a stamp is a little bit too tight, or if your punch that you're working with doesn't seem to line up right, you can alter the shape. So let me just show you that. What I might do if I really wanted to use this greeting tonight, but my label seemed awkward. Let's see. Okay. You're in my thoughts today. So I can stamp this one. Now this is not a photopolymer one, so I'm gonna have to kind of guess. What I'm gonna do is stamp it on my grid paper. And so now when I put my, well, I didn't pay attention. No, there's a tool we have called a Stamp-a-majig, and then we have a Stamp-apparatus. I don't have those with me right now. So but I do want to show you this technique with the grid paper. So if we lay the stamp so that it's straight and you're using the lines of the grid paper to help you. And this block, do you see the darker line right here? I'm going to line up my block with that darker line. So now I can put, this is where I know the ink is going to go. I can put my paper on top of that. This is like a low-tech Stamp-apparatus if you don't have a Stamp-apparatus. Then I can line that corner up again. and it didn't quite work because I didn't have the other tool. But I was trying to show you how if you have a punch that's already a set shape for you, you can alter it. So I'm going to try it one more time on the other side, see if I have better luck for you.
That's a good trick.
Yeah. So there, that time I did better. So what I want to do this time, maybe I feel like this is too much over here. I could tie ribbon around it. I could have my twine on one side, kind of wrap and have a little bow on one side, but then maybe trim off this side. So I personally really enjoy the treasure hunting when I have an assortment of items on my desk, or like you have in your bag each month. And then you kind of think about using them in different ways. So here I'm going to tie this around. Now the white twine, I prefer the vanilla paper more with this parchment, but this would work as well, wouldn't it? We could have instead of the happy birthday, we could have You're in my thoughts today, which is kind of pretty. So one-of-a-kind cards are great, friends. One of the things I hope you'll always feel when we get together is just the joy of making something and playing around, and it's just paper and ink. You really can't go wrong. And think of the people in your life who would love to receive, even if it's smudged or crooked or what have you, it's made with love and with that friend in mind. So to finish this one off, what I would do is put that piece of vanilla paper inside. Remember, we cut the envelope to just have that clean piece, and I would put that inside, and then my recipient would be able to read my message. Okay, let's see. So finish that off. Great. Now I want to show you one more thing before we say goodnight, and this is another way to use the envelopes that are sealed up so that you can't use them in the regular way. Let me find another one here. Okay, and this is to make a bookmark, but it's not a traditional bookmark. It's a triangle bookmark. So, and what it does is it kind of hugs the corner of the page of your book. So I like to make mine, the distance will be about 2 inches from the straight line to the point. So my 2-inch line on my grid is right here. And then I'm going to, see, how did I do this earlier to make it sure I was straight? Let's see. What I did was I used that center line at the 2, and then where the 2 inches above intersects and 2 inches below intersects, I lined up these 90-degree angle pieces. And then I'm going to slice. So I hope that makes sense. I'll do it twice so you can see. There's one pocket bookmark. And I'll show you how we can decorate that in a minute. And then I'll do it again on this side, because from each envelope, you can get several. You can get as many as 4. You can get 2 that are the larger size. Okay. And we'll trim that away. So now I have 2 little pockets. Sometimes with kids, we make them into little monsters. You can put eyes, googly eyes on, draw eyes on here. And then what that does is it tucks in your book for a bookmark. So let me reach just for a second to grab something to work like a book here. Hold on a second. Okay, don't go away. I'm almost done. I want to show you how this can be a little bookmark for your book. So you'll tuck it in on a page. Let's go into the springtime. Got my library dates in June. We'll be together on June 9th. But you'll tuck your little pocket here to be on your book. So these are really simple to make with the envelopes. You don't need any other adhesive because that part is sealed. And then you can stamp it any way you like. So here's a stamp that I love that has little butterflies. And some of you have similar stamps in your kits this time that have lots of little hearts or little swirls or little flowers. And so this kind of stamp is a fun one when you can do that all over pattern. Little butterfly in the corner there. And then you can color them. I'm going to use our little markers here just to add some color to it. And these will just make cute little bookmarks. They make a nice little handout. And of course, as library fans, we enjoy reading, and having bookmarks is always handy. So there's some little pink ones. Did it make sense how I cut it? You can do it even just with a pair of scissors. If you take the envelope and you can draw a line with a ruler, first, or you can just eyeball it. You want to just cut off a triangle. And this, if you can make them as wide as you like. I guess the largest one we could make might be too large, except for a large children's book, but that 2-inch works really well, I thought. You can just slice it across, and then you have your pocket. So they're fun to decorate. And again, it's just a way to repurpose those envelopes that we couldn't use as traditional envelopes anymore. Does anybody have any questions tonight?
No.
Well, we thank you for being a part of it. Thank you to Julia for partnering and for all her help with the technology. And thank you to all of you for taking part. I hope to see some of you at the library tomorrow for our in-person class. And if not, then certainly next month, you can sign up now. The library has a new sign-up calendar, but it's up and running now, so you can mark your calendar, sign up and mark for the coming months. The second Thursday of each month, we are doing the Zoom in the evening, and then the following Friday morning is the
Do you have a teaser on what the in-person next month is going to be?
Oh, I haven't decided on the next. There's a couple of choices. I have a birthday kit, which is really colorful and fun. And it's early in the year, it's nice to do birthdays because then you're set up with birthdays for the months to come in the new year. But it may be a choice of different kits too, because I have several different ones that I have multiples of. So check out also on my Facebook page, Missy's Glad Heart Studio. You can message me and let me know if there's a particular theme that you're interested in. I love special requests.
Okay.
Great. Well, thanks everybody for being with us tonight. I wish you the very best for a warm month ahead, warm, cozy January ahead, and have fun crafting Valentines for friends and family during this special time.
I had one quick question.
Sure.
There was a cute little golf-sized pencil in my kit.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I love to use pencils as a little stamp. So what you do is you take your ink pad. Let me show you. I'll grab my little blue one here, my Bermuda Bay. That's a great question. Was that Connie?
Yep.
Yep, great question. Okay, so I'm opening it up, and we're just going to use the golf pencil, and I don't know where mine went, so that's why I forgot about it. When I emptied my bag, it must have rolled away. But here's another one that will work. You're just going to take and use the eraser, and then you've got little polka dots. So this would be really cute on a corner bookmark. Just fill it up with different colors of polka dots. Okay. So if you want to clean it, you need to use like a baby wipe or a wet paper towel to wipe off the eraser so that you can use different colors, or you can just collect a variety of little pencils and kind of then, earmark one to be a different color, one color or another. So I love polka dots and stripes. So that's what I intended that. So thanks for the reminder that I had that in there for you. That's just a fun tool to create stamps.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks everybody for joining in, and we look forward to seeing you next month. Thank you, Julie, so much. Good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Night.
I like being your friend too.
Thank you, Julia. Have a great night.